Okay, so today we're going to take a look at a couple more examples. Same worksheet that I passed out, well, posted yesterday, 5 and 7. And I'll leave number 6 and number 8 for you to try for homework. Let's look at question number 5. So we have, again, 3 equations, 3 unknowns. We have the first 2 lines, equations, shouldn't say lines, equations. Take a look at them. X, they both have x's, plus 1 is 3y plus y, plus, look at the coefficient z, they're both the same, equals 1's 10, 1's 2. So I notice that the z's are both positive, same coefficient, so I know right away, step 1, I'm going to subtract line 1, line 2, and what happens is really, really neat. Not only are the z's going to cancel out, but then also the x's drop out, so I end up getting a really nice, easy equation, 2y equals 8. And dividing both sides by 2, I can solve for y to get y equals 4. Then I now know that y equals 4. My next step, step 2, is using line 3, because there's only 2 unknowns there. Why don't I plug the y4 into line 3 and solve for z, so I discover z equals 1. So I have 4 for y, I have 1 for z. So now it's just a matter of me substituting any one of the top 2 equations. I just chose the top one, line 1. Plug in for x, plug in for y, and solve for, plug in for the y, plug in for the z. And you should be able to solve for x to get -3. But unfortunately, some of these problems get gradually a little bit more challenging. So let's look at example number 7. Number 7. Again, I have 3 equations, 3 unknowns, but I did notice right off the bat that if I add line 2, line 3, these are opposite. One's positive 5, one's -5. I'll be able to cancel out my z's. So adding line 2, line 3 together gives me 4x, -5, -4y equals -8. No z's, so that makes me happy. But I still have 2 unknowns there, but I narrowed it down to variable x and y. So now what I need to do is try to pick another combination of 2 equations that eliminates variable z. So now this is probably the worst case scenario. You have to do some manipulating with coefficients. But I realized, hey, if I took 5 times line 1, I'll create a coefficient here that'll be -20. And if I multiply 4 to equation line 2, that'll give me +20. They'll be opposites. So that was my plan of attack. I multiply 5 to line 1, 4 to line 2. That will create this equation here of 30x minus 10y minus 20z equals -40. 12x minus 20y plus 20z equals -56. So if I add these 2 equations, I end up getting another equation with only variables x and y. 42x minus 30y equals 96. So I'll take that equation, as well as the equation from step 1, and I'll write them up side by side. Now, I was kind of hoping to use the elimination method here, but unfortunately, the coefficients are getting a little higher. So a little trick here, do you notice the 4, 4, and 8? I can divide all 3 of those coefficients by 4. What I ended up getting was another equivalent equation, a little easier to work with. And you're not always forced to use elimination. So if you like to use substitution, I just moved the y over by adding it. I plugged the equation y minus 2 where I saw x into either one. Actually, the second one you should do. So by doing that, I mean, I have large numbers, but it really works out nicely here. 42y minus 84 minus 30y equals 96. Combine your like terms, you get 12y. Adding 84 gives you -12. Divide both sides by 12, and voila, you get the answer for y. So I know what y equals. Let me see, I don't know what x equals, so why don't go back over here? If y equals -1, -1 minus 2 gives me -3. I got x, I got y, I just got to find z. So I just went back to line 3 up on top. Plug in your value for x and y and solve for z, you get -2. So again, you might want to watch this video again. Stop for a moment. I'll send you a copy of my notes here too, if you want to take a look at that. But for homework, try number 6 and number 8. Look for where, again, label your lines and write down your recipe, your steps, so what you're planning on doing. But take a look and see if you have any coefficients that are the same, or if you can double one, same, or double one. Same thing for number 8. See if you see anything that's the same that you can maybe double or to add together, in hopes of narrowing down and solving for 2 variables, like either xy or xz or yz. And they've got to be for both the same 2 variables.